Can I be honest though? Like you guys are like nice guys, but neither of you complimented my Chihuahua.
Oh yes,
I believe I did when I first came in.
What'd you say?
Well, first I saw your.
No, what you said. You go, "Oh, is that your dog?"
Well, that's a nice.
I don't know if that's a nice.
That's nice.
That's not a nice.
that's
Your
a
dog.
nice.
That's not a
What-
nice.
What? How old?
This is great. We got Danny Jolles and Maz Jobrani.
There you go, DJ and MJ. Let's go, baby.
This is. We're
Classic
going.
combo.
Yeah.
I'm really excited because like my intention is to have people like you two, kind,
Yes.
but also very talented,
Well, there
but
you
also
go.
very funny
Keep
Well,
going.
I-
Keep
I-
going. Keep going.
and very successful.
Well,
Thank you. Wow, look at
more than
that.
me.
Look at this.
So how many episodes how many episodes could I do with guests only like that?
This is it. This is
That's what I was
it.
gonna say. You're gonna run out fast.
You're done.
The kind is the
part, yeah,
That's the
kind,
one you're gonna
yeah.
fall through pretty
Because
fast.
there's a lot of the others.
Oh yeah.
But kind. You know, it's funny. I've had two comics now tell me. So one time Dom Herrera said, I don't know who he was talking to. He goes, I was talking to so-and-so, and we decided you're the nicest comedian. And I was like, oh, thanks. I go, not the funniest? No, nicest. And then the other one was Debbie Gutierrez. She texted me. She goes, Marc Maron just said that if he were to be passing away at the Comedy Store, you'd be the last comedian he'd want to see. And I was like, what? She goes, it's on this episode of WTF. So I rewound, went to listen because I know Mark. We're friendly. I've been on his show, and there was an email. And they said, if you were dying, who would be the last comedian you want to see? And he goes, I don't know. He's like, oh, gosh. He's like, yeah, maybe Maz Jobrani. He's a good guy, Maz Jobrani. So then I was flattered. I was like, oh, my God, Marc Maron likes my comedy. So I text him. I go, hey, man, thanks for, picking me as the person. And then he goes, yeah, you're nice. And I was like, so not funny?
Yeah.
So he just wants to see a nice person on the way out, as opposed to like one of the comics that'll be like, I never liked you, Maron. I'm happy you're dying. I'll be like, Mark, you're gonna be happier in a better place.
Uh-huh.
I remember when I first got to the Comedy Store, this guy was telling me, like, the store guy there, who's like, he's like, these people are all like comedy grandchildren of people who taught them, like, you gotta be like dark and bitter. And he's like, Mitzi says, flowers come from dirt.
Oh yeah.
So you got to be in the dirt. Don't be happy.
Yeah.
That's where comedy comes. I'm like, I get, that's a cute, I love whoever came up with that. It's cute. And
Yeah.
what comes from coal? What's the good stuff?
Diamonds.
Diamonds
Yeah.
come from coal. But also, like, I've seen flowers grow next to nice flowers.
I think it's one of the biggest. Any young comic, I'm like, do not give in to that. Like, that's not true. You can be a fairly healthy, happy person and do this.
To be fair, there's only three of us.
There's only three. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you can. I know some that are fairly.
No, I think it's not. It is dirt, but because we all have issues that we dealt with. We all have issues that we deal with. Doesn't mean you're a mean person. You can be a nice person and still have issues.
Right.
Like, I didn't have a perfect upbringing.
Right.
There was issues with my parents, my father, my mother, and then there's issues with me, with my wife, with my kid. I think comedy is, obviously, if you come from a place of either being upset about something or being frustrated with something, it's funny. It's funny to see somebody up there going like, I can't believe this. And we all do it. We're nice. You could be nice and be out in this world, and you're going to run into things that are going to frustrate you.
Oh, yeah.
So as a matter of fact, it's funny because after the election, I have kind of stopped watching the news with that frustrated view, because I used to every day I'd be like, what? They did what? What happened? Now when I see like Marjorie Taylor Greene goes, why didn't they can stop the fires by putting seeds in the clouds. They know how to make rain. And I'm like, rather than getting upset at it, I'm just like, oh yeah, okay. I'm entertained by it.
Yeah.
But being upset at stuff does help, I think, on stage if you can really get that.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you're not nice.
Yeah, I think it's on stage, off stage. I still get fired up on stage, but there's a way to do it where you're still but off stage, be nice. And I do think it is a good career move. I stand by a lot of my career
Being
has
nice?
come from the fact that sometimes people are just like, Danny will just show up and do a good job and be nice to be around. And
It's funny you say that because I was just listening to Stern talk about Mel Gibson. and all the crappy stuff that he said, and he's working again. So the other thing you realize as a person who's nice, and listen, by the way, we're not nice because it's a career move. We're nice because it's just our nature.
Yeah.
But as someone who's nice, you're like, why would they keep hiring a guy or anybody who's continuously an asshole?
Yeah. Because
Don't get me started on that. I mean, Hollywood is a wild place when it comes to people.
Right?
So many people I've worked with on acting. I think one of the most top 5 surprising facts about Hollywood, one of them I always tell people is you will be shocked how regularly you will be on a set and an actor has not even the slightest clue of what his lines are for the day.
Oh, wow.
Like, just not even close. Like, just showing up, like, what are we doing today?
And that's usually the star.
Yeah, and you're like, and then you work with that person, you're like, that's, to me, bananas. And then you'll talk to someone else who worked on them, they're like, oh, yeah, they don't know the lines. And you're like, well, why are we hiring this person over and over? They'll hire the same people over and over.
I've been lucky to have somewhat of the opposite experience in when you go to be a guest star on a show, and then the star of the show goes, while they're doing the stuff, they go, you want to go run lines? And I'm like, that happened with Hector Elizondo. Remember Hector Elizondo?
Yeah.
He's a great actor, and he's like, he's not a diva in any way. And the first guest star I ever did was on a show called Chicago Hope, all the way back in like 2000 or something, or 99 even. And that was one of those, like, because they're, especially when you're on those medical, the episodics, they're constantly rewriting.
Oh,
so he's like, you want to go run the lines? And I was like, oh, that's so cool that the star that I'm in the scene with is asking me to run lines. Like, that's kind of cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool when people care. And
when they care.
And there are a ton of people who do care, but there are so many like who you're like, dude, just stop hiring this guy.
Yeah.
There's someone else.
Yeah.
Can I be honest though? Like, you guys are like nice guys, but neither of you complimented my Chihuahua.
Oh, yes.
I believe I did when I first came in.
What'd you say?
Well, first I saw your...
No, what you said? You go, oh, is that your dog?
Well, that's a nice.
I don't know if that's a nice.
That's nice.
That's not a nice.
That's
Your
a
dog.
nice.
That's not
What-
a nice.
what, how old-
Show me what a nice is.
Betty's very cute. How old are you, Betty? How old is Betty?
She doesn't want to talk to you. Do you
Okay.
talk? Oh, I want to know how you guys talk to dogs. Like, do you do that move where, you know what? I appreciate that you ask how old is Betty because you know that she doesn't talk. You know?
Yeah, then you would.
But like,
yeah.
do you ever go to the park and then someone's like, they look at your dog, a stranger, and they go, "How old are you?"
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you're like, you have to.
Yeah.
talk for your dog?
I am 5 years old.
Do you do the voice?
No.
Can you imagine?
I always do, like, when I'm I take her everywhere, Yasu here, and I do the I'll do the like if she's on the leash at, like, let's say Whole Foods and someone's like saying hi, I'll be like, oh, making friends, huh? Making friends. I just and by the way, there's also sometimes, because we live in LA, we assume that everyone's dog friendly. I've also had people like freak out, like, especially like when you got a tiny dog like that or a little dog like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you worried about?
If someone comes up to you, to your dog and like starts talking to your dog, do you respond on their behalf?
Yeah, and the problem is you do sound like
try
a
it. Let me
loser.
try it.
And you have to respond like a loser because a lot of times, particularly one of my dogs, Harper, banger. She's unbelievable. She's perfect.
I want a banger.
Yeah.
She's the best of the best. My other dog, Daphne, trickier, a little tougher. So we have to match our tone. So Daphne has to hear my tone.
Yeah.
So when people come up and they're like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "This is Daphne," because I'm trying to get Daphne to not.
Oh, that's funny.
So I have to sound like a loser.
It's like if you had a kid, you'd do that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We're gonna be nice to the lady. We're not gonna kick her in the
But then
shin,
I'll
right?
be like, "What? I sound like an idiot."
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to keep this dog from not jumping.
Yeah.
Does everyone ask you if your dog's a rescue?
I have not had that because I maybe like they see a mini golden doodle. They're like, oh, you definitely got it from a breeder. And by the way, we're not like my family was not a dog family at all. This is our first dog ever, and we needed a hypoallergenic dog because our daughter has some allergies, and so we just again I was hesitant. I was like, I don't want a dog, and then we got her, and she's the best thing.
And but understood, by the way. But I would say every single time I go out with my dog, someone goes, "Oh my God, what a cute dog! Is it a rescue? Like, what a invasive? Is your child adopted or is it natural? None of your business."
Totally.
Please tell her that this is very Comics Unleashed style. Like, I understand that you had a situation like this.
Well, I mean, it's not a funny story, but it is sad. But also interesting. My wife, for her first dog, tried so hard to adopt. And they would not let her.
Because there's such guilt in LA, you have to adopt.
They wouldn't let her because she was a single woman, and they were like, "How big is your space?" They would.
Oh, really?
She couldn't get. She needs a hypoallergenic.
Jeez.
And they just every hypoallergenic every hypoallergenic dog is super coveted.
Yeah.
She kept trying. They wouldn't give it to her. Finally, she adopts a dog. She gets one that she got, and the dog died
Oh God.
like a
Wait,
year
that's
in.
not the story I wanted to hear.
What's the story
Good
you want to
Lord,
hear?
that's not the
What
story
a
at
funny
all.
ending.
Well, that's why I was surprised you asked. What's your story you want?
I was just, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was just saying, like, because you said that sometimes you walk the dog, and then sometimes I haven't seen him in like 5 years. I'm like, the last time he told me the story, I was like,
Yeah,
you remember that
the
story?
I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah.
sorry. I told the
Jesus
wrong story,
Christ,
but that is
it's-
true. That's how. And then after that, I was like, I can't make her adopt again. We have to go with
Yeah.
something.
Yo, you told me a sweet, silly. Good Lord, I'm traumatized now. I'm so sorry. I know you told a story about when you walk the dog. People go, "Is that a rescue?" And you have to give a whole speech about we tried to rescue the dog, but we
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah.
And then
Well, that's the speech. So the speech is that's the slam at the end is, and the dog fucking died, and then they
Because
shut it.
rescue dogs die.
Yeah, sometimes
And
they
breeding
do.
bred dogs don't die.
I mean, it's just if you need a hypoallergenic dog, these rescue places are going to make you work to get it.
Ruben Paul has a funny line. He says something like he'll talk about his dog, and then he'll say, so I really think it's important for everybody to adopt, and then everyone claps, and he goes, "You guys, not me. I got mine from a breeder." And it's funny.
I have a joke. I say, adopt, don't shop, and by any means necessary. Like if I go into a pet store and I see a dog inside the pet store, I make sure the dog dies inside the pet store.
Yeah.
Adopt, don't shop. Can we show something fun you can do with your dogs? Do you ever get a porch pirate, by the way?
I have not had a porch pirate, thank God.
You know what porch pirates are?
I know what they are, but fortunately, we got a little gate.
So you can't get a porch pirate?
Porch pirate is someone who steals something off your porch, right?
They can go through your gate, no?
The gate is a deterrent, is
The
what
gate
he's
is a
saying. So that's
deterrent.
all we need. So you should tell
There's a
Donald Trump,
porch.
just build a gate at the border, and those Mexicans won't come in.
I'm glad you brought this up because
Think
I
about
wanted
that.
to talk about this.
Yes.
What we need is a wall.
But look, this is
we should have one big ring camera at the border.
Smart.
that's all you need.
That's all you
Now we're
need. You'd be like, who
cooking.
is there?
And then when they come by, you just watch.
Mexican guy.
You just watch on your phone and go, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
You just talk.
No gracias. No gracias.
Let's take a look at this. Is what a guy did. To put on your headphone things. This is what
Oh.
a nice guy did
so sorry.
to deter porch pirates, and I really respect it. I admire this.
This is security camera video from Josh Blumenthal.
They drive up on the curb, they park here, they get out.
He says the different clips show people taking packages off the porch of his property in the Marmalade Hardware District of Salt Lake.
They have
Salt
drivers, they get out, grab it, run.
These videos go back years, and Josh says he's keeping a tally.
I made 114 packages. So 113 got taken over the weekend, 114's coming up soon.
There's nothing of value in these boxes. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
I literally empty out the cat box straight into a box. The litter, the poop, everything, just into a box,
wait,
tape
we
it up,
get it.
put a label on it, put it out.
It's not just cat poop.
Have you ever done this?
There's a lot of issues there. First of all, as people who are comedians, social media, we're always looking, like they say, you got to title your clips so that it's clickbait. So people really, great title, "Packing Poop to Pester Porch Pirates."
That is very good.
I would have been like, I wouldn't have come up with that.
And you watched it, even though you were forced to watch it at gunpoint by me right now.
Yeah, I watched it because the bigger issue is, what neighborhood is this guy living in that out of 114
Lake's-
boxes, all 114 were it's like,
Were
you
you
understand what I'm saying?
Salt Lake?
Yeah, but
Salt Lake has that much people to have that many
I
people.
didn't
stealing-
realize- yeah.
It's very you didn't grow up around Mormons. It's very stereotypical. They steal packages.
Who knew?
Mormons still?
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
Yeah,
Now it is.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
This is an untrue statement.
multiple
I did grow
wives,
up around
and they're
Mormons.
allowed multiple packages. They're allowed multiple packages.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
Who also how if you have that many people stealing from you, I think he might be like he wants them to this is for him.
He's probably like living next to a crack house,
I mean,
and he's just putting it out there. And
That's
he's like,
a high rate.
he's
Yeah.
like, oh, what are the odds of these crackheads stealing my stuff again?
Yeah.
That's good.
But I like, and shout out to Jennifer Hobbs 45, who's commented on it,
Mm-hmm.
because she's right. The guy used to do glitter bombs,
Mm-hmm.
and those were amazing. He would put a camera in the thing they took,
Oh.
so you would get footage of the people opening up the package they stole, getting smashed by a glitter bomb.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
Did you ever buy something properly and then it has the ink thing on it? I remember as a kid, my mom like opened up a thing and then like ink was shot everywhere.
Oh, really?
Like, if you go to Target and like,
Oh,
back, they used to have a glass one. I think glass would come out.
Jeez.
It's just like a thing to keep you from stealing. But there's another thing where like if they don't take it off the clothing, you tear it off, ink will go all over your
What
stuff.
about the packages that are impossible to open? Like you get with your scissors.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know when they like
That's fun.
airtight and you're like, what the hell? I can't get to this thing.
Oh, that's good. That's
Cut
a good one.
yourself?
Yeah. That's smart.
But do you know what the problem we have here
Yes.
in America? Porch pirates. Do you know why they exist? Because you give them the coolest name.
Yeah.
Why are we branding people with a thing that's cool to be?
Yeah.
No one. You should not. We're incentivizing.
Yes.
Hey, you want to be a pirate? Yeah. What do
Who
you have to
doesn't?
do? Do I have to rape and pillage? I don't want to do that. It's a horrible thing to do. I got to carry gold.
Porch pirate.
I'm not strong.
Yeah.
I'd have to go to I get a ship. I have to get a bunch of people with earrings to come with me. I got to cut off my leg.
Yeah.
They'll be like, no, you just have to go next door.
Just run up there and grab.
Yeah.
Steel box. You get to be a pirate? I'm in. We got to rebrand.
How about deck dick?
Ooh.
Don't be a deck dick, man.
Deck dick, porch
What?
pussy.
Porch pussy.
Pussy.
Have your kids
Porcupine. Don't be a porcupine, man.
Porcupine.
You shouldn't be a porcupine
That's very good.
Can you imagine like one of your kids?
because you're a prick. Porcupine. They have kind of prickly. Don't be a prick. Don't be a prick. Don't be a porcupine.
Porcupine's
This
good
writes
because you can
itself.
say it like you can say it like on TV.
Yeah.
Like if your kid goes on Dr. Phil,
Yeah.
you can't say porch pussy or deck dick.
Yes.
But porcupine,
Porcupine. you could do it.
porcupine,
Porcupine.
Please.
but
Porcupine.
it's what's the word? It's
TV friendly.
it's TV friendly, but it's
Yeah.
also like people. It's double worse because if you get it, and then it creates more conversation.
Yes.
What does that mean? It means I'm. What does that? You say it to your kid. You're a porcupine. Yes,
Yeah.
I am. What does that mean? I'm a prick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There you go. We got it. So people, please take that and start using that from now on.
That's pretty good.
Porcupine.
You said you're a big Jerry Lewis fan.
Die Hard.
Can I show you guys something that
Hey,
happened?
lady.
It's the best.
Yeah.
So one time I met Jerry Lewis,
Oh boy.
and I'm gonna show you this. This time I met Jerry Lewis,
Oh gosh.
and a little clip. So I went to go see him in LA. He had a show. Then there was a meet and greet afterwards.
And you paid for the meet and greet.
I got a hookup to get into the meet and greet.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. He's
Okay.
like 93.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just on stage, really old,
Yeah.
presenting legendary clips that are the funniest things I've ever seen, like videos from the Colgate Comedy Hour from 1950 with his
Right.
kids when they still loved him.
Yeah.
A lot of estranged family. It happens.
The end of his life was tough. I covered this with you when I
We
saw
talked
you.
about it. By the
No
way,
money,
it
no
was
problem.
genius.
There, he had
Genius.
the last 10 years of his life. They interviewed him too many times.
Yeah.
Just before then, he was doing pretty okay.
Genius, comedy genius. Back then, everything he said now is the most racist, offensive
Sure.
thing I've ever heard.
Certainly.
He told a joke how do Chinese people name their children. I'm not gonna say the punchline.
Yeah.
Anyways, with the punchline, I mean, I'm not gonna say the punchline of the punchline, but he says you drop a coin down the stairs,
I see.
and then he makes
Yeah.
he makes John Na laughed, and he's not Chinese, but
Yeah.
you know. Okay, so this is Jerry
But
Lewis.
you know. But
Jerry,
you know.
No, he's not.
You know, but
John
you
Na,
know.
producer John Na. What's your heritage, sir? Korean. See, I know.
All right. All right.
I check. I made sure.
Yes.
Well, I think you said what you said first, and then you checked.
Correct.
I don't want
To be honest, to be honest, I checked before I hired him.
Oh, smart.
Yes.
Smart.
I made
Yes.
sure.
That's very smart.
You want an ally.
I want to make sure.
And make sure South Korea, not North Korea.
Correct.
Of
Correct.
Very
course.
important. Very important.
Correct.
Very important.
Maz gets it.
Oh, you ever
Yeah.
go down the rabbit hole of North Korea videos?
Oh, these North Koreans.
That'll take you for hours. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay.
Sound. Yeah. So.
How are you? I'm Taylor. I'm a comedian. Stand up.
Yes, I know you are.
Really?
You're very good.
Really?
Yeah,
How do you know?
you kept me up one night.
Really?
Yeah,
That means this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
yeah,
Thank
but it's
you.
the truth. I
You-
can't remember if it was a. I don't know what the hell it was.
I
but
did
you were
America's
awful
Got
good.
Talent. Oh my gosh, this means it means the world to me. I've watched you my entire life and.
Well, you've got the great quality for a comedian. You look sick. You get the audience's sympathy right away.
Oh my gosh, make it like a proper photo.
You're not going to take a picture of that goddamn camera. Go ahead, shoot.
Thank you.
I want one with my daughter. I want one with my grandson. I want one with my granddaughter. Kimmy, come
so-
here.
Oh my God.
That was 1 minute. There's so many things happened in that 1 minute.
Yeah.
I got to meet comedy hero,
Yes.
like my comedy hero. Danny's super comedy hero. He doesn't like when you make fun of Jerry Lewis. If you know, if you know,
We
if you know
shan't.
that. And then
Legend.
Legend of Legends. He wrote, he choreographed, he danced,
Invented
he
the playback
directed.
monitor.
He was the guy who did the accounting when he was working with Dean Martin. He said Dean would go get drunk and I'd be in the room counting the money.
Wow.
Yeah, businessman.
So I got to meet him. He knew me for some reason.
It's amazing.
He roasted me with love.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then I go to take a picture with him. I deletes me from
Iced you.
He iced me.
You didn't get the picture?
I got a picture, but
Well, you got
not. I got that. It's great. My friend filmed me without asking, which is the best thing you could ever do for anybody. Is
Great.
Don't ask.
Yep,
Just do it
yep,
without-
yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was being
Particularly because the photo didn't end up happening. That whole thing would have been lost.
right. So, but I'm like having a moment. He got his joke. He's like, "We're good.
Yeah.
I'm 93. I don't need you anymore. You
Yeah.
got what you needed."
Yeah.
He's been famous for 70 years.
Yeah.
But he deleted me
Probably-
from his life.
Probably has ADHD like a lot of comedians do.
Yes.
And like he just got quickly distracted.
It also feels like you were past normal meet
Whoa.
and greet.
Say it again.
Feels like you were past the normal meet and greet. It feels like you had.
But
feels like you entered past the normal.
No,
like
he seemed like Jerry liked you. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
actually
yeah.
seemed to like you.
I think
in which
he thought
case
you were part of the family situation. Like, oh, he must know somebody, which it sounds like you did.
What really happened? I was in like a meet and greet, but it's kind of like an exclusive meet and greet. Like my buddy was the assistant to his agent, you know. But I had a buddy who went ahead of us, who was like a comedian who wasn't so I don't know. He's a good guy, you know, and he's a friend, and but he said something that like he told Jerry that he's a comedian,
Mhm.
and then Jerry was just like blew him off,
Oh wow.
Oh,
and then
I would never have told him. I was blown away. You said it.
I wish I remembered why, but I watched my friend like just like he just like did everything
Oh, that's
wrong.
funny. It's like you're in that line of the water slide, and you're like, ooh, he didn't do it. That's not. I'm not gonna do it like that.
We don't want to go down head
I don't want to
first.
go like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's.
I wish I remember what he said because he just bombed.
But I would have said, listen, I met Joan Rivers in one of these airline lounges one time. And the way I went up to her, I said, "Hi, Miss Rivers. Big fan. I actually am a comedian as well, and you're amazing. Whatever." I would say, like, even to Jerry Lewis, because you're hoping that.
Yeah.
Because if somebody comes to me and they're young and new and they say I'm a comedian, I'm going, oh well, keep at it, and hopefully, and then especially if I see if he was honest about having seen you, because I thought what was gonna happen there was he's gonna be like, yeah, you're the guy who does the thing. You'd be like, no, that's not me. That's
That's my life every
that's
day.
someone else.
You're the Jello pudding guy.
Yeah,
I'll tell you one of those I had once.
yeah.
And I'm gonna say a word that you don't say, but it's for the quote.
Sure.
If you're quoting, you can say anything.
Yeah, the N word. You can say it. Go ahead.
As long as you're quoting.
Yeah.
Go
of
ahead.
course.
I'm just.
But I
out
was
of
at the Improv years ago, and someone comes up to me so excited, and they're like, "Excuse me," and I'm like, "Yes," And this is before like I had a real career too,
Yeah.
so it's like you kind of like. Saw me on Live at Gotham. Is
Yeah.
that what you know?
Yeah.
Late show cook for like you still feel like you earned it,
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm like, yes. Are you the retarded guy from $1 Million Baby?
Hilarious. Hilarious.
So kind and heartfelt. And then I say no, and I just let her down.
Oh my
Then
God.
I'm sad that I'm not.
Oh my God. I'm so
guy.
sorry I'm not.
Yeah. Have you ever had I had one once where where you think someone's like complimenting you, and then you realize that they're way more important than you.
Oh yeah.
Like I had one at the airport where like this woman came up and she was like, "Are you on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You're so funny on it." And I was like, "Well, thank you so much. Like, so nice." And like she was like, "Yeah, because I actually did like an episode." And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." Like, well, and slowly like again, and she was at some point it was like, "Oh, it's Ricky Lake."
That's funny.
And I was like, "What are we doing here? I'm so sorry.
That's
This is an
funny.
honor for me. What are we? But we can stop pretending. What happened?"
Yeah.
Did you acknowledge that she's Ricky Lake?
Once she said, I didn't recognize her on look, but then once we put it together, she was like, "I'm Ricky." I think at some point she had to be like, "I'm Ricky," because she was like, I did like this whole thing because they were at my house, and I was like, "What episode?" And she was like, I'm Ricky Lake, and then it was like, "Oh,"
Hilarious.
and then I was the dumbest person on earth.
Did
So it was
you
a
think
real.
about going, hi Ricky Lake, like at what point do you go, I know who you are?
And when she said her name, to me. I couldn't have been a more humiliating moment to
You're
also
like,
have
and
that moment
then-
like, thank you so much.
You're like, hold on, I got to Wikipedia
Did
you.
we go to
I-
high school together?
yeah, no, I know her work. Great, she's amazing.
What do you do as a humble, nice? This is the problem being a nice person too. If someone goes, "Excuse me, do I know you from somewhere?"
Oh God.
Because I try going as a nice guy.
Yeah,
It's just you're just come off like a douche no matter what. I don't know. I'm from San Diego.
that's funny. You go way back. You're like, ah.
I'm from San Diego. What high school did you go to? I'm making a cute
I
joke.
go to Starbucks. You go to Starbucks? No, I'll say like the more general, like if they say, I know you from somewhere, I go, I'm a comedian, maybe from there, comedy, acting or something. And then if they go, what have you been in? And then you start a list.
That's
That
the
gets annoying.
That's
You're
the one
just
that I hate the
IMDb, man, and
You know what? My favorite one I got, like
Yeah.
unironic favorite one.
yeah.
This one guy goes, because I did America's Got Talent, right? This guy goes,
What?
listen, but this guy looks at me. He goes, "Hey, American Idol."
Doesn't matter. People aren't
The
paying
air gets
attention.
hard, Maz.
The
fellows
sooner
here.
you realize people aren't paying attention, you know what I'm saying? Like I've done shows, like at the Comedy Store or wherever, and then people will come up afterwards and they will say like their favorite joke of you did their favorite joke of the night, and then they'll quote somebody that looks nothing like you. Like a black female lesbian comedian, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
"I love that joke you did about being a black female lesbian." You're like,
Yeah.
clearly not a black female lesbian, but thank you very much. People aren't paying attention.
No.
I'm trying to
Very
get.
true.
I have. It's taken me. I've done this over 20 years, and like I did Last Comic Standing in like 2010, and I was only on 2 episodes, and the 3rd episode is the live shows where people start voting, and that's when I first learned that everyone just lies, and I've done this too in my life where you just lie and say something nice to someone who's like you recognize you want to be kind. So I've done it and I get it, but people go. I've learned to stop correcting people
Yeah.
because like back then people would go, "I voted for you on Last Comic Standing. You should have won." Then I would go, respect politely, thank you. Actually, I didn't get far enough to get voted for, but thank you. You know, no, then they would argue. They always argue.
Yeah.
No, I voted for you. And then I'm like, then I'd be like, no, I didn't get far. And then they get mad at me.
Yeah.
And then America's Got Talent. Like, years later, people still just go, I gave you all my votes, and like I can smell it. I can tell when they lied.
That's funny.
And I just go, thank you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
How alpha have you been recently?
You want me to go first?
Yes.
If I were really alpha right there, I would have been like, "No, bro, I'm going first."
Yeah.
So go
Well,
ahead.
don't get me started. The word alpha, I was thinking because you sent the thing, and I was like, I've been in a very odd place. So right now, in this point in history, whenever you're watching this, the Washington Commanders just won their first playoff game in 2 decades. Since I was a teenager, I have not seen this team win a playoff game. So I have simultaneously been watching football
Excuse me. Sorry. Hold on.
with more.
Hold on.
The least alpha.
Well, no,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
I'm
middle
just-
of
I took
I was
over-
in the
took your
middle of a
story.
story.
That was alpha to take
Very-
over the
That
story.
was a very passive aggressive alpha.
I was
That
going to
was-
talk over it, but then you.
That was very.
going, I'm gonna throw
and
up.
I love that you talked over. That was very alpha to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
ignore
This
it.
is good. We're getting our alpha out.
Wow, I like
Yeah.
that. But then
Good.
you also like apologized, so you took command again.
Yes, I'm a commander. You see.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead. You
So I've been watching football, screaming at football.
Yeah.
Probably the most passionate I've been about football in a long time, which
Yeah.
I consider to be very like alpha.
Are you from DC?
Yes,
Okay.
but because it's been so long, when they won, I cried,
Oh wow.
and I was like, "Well, that's not alpha at all."
Right.
It's not out. So I was like, "What an in-between moment to be watching sports and being this intensely about sports, but crying because of how much it means to me that this team is finally good."
Wow.
But I would argue that is alpha to be a real man by using all the emotions that the good Lord gave you.
That's right.
That's a 2025 alpha.
Is it?
Because a 1985 alpha would not have cried. 1985 alpha, if you cried, you punch yourself. Don't be a pussy. What are you doing?
Mhm.
But a 2025 alpha is like, I'm a man. I just killed Bin Laden with my Navy SEAL team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry for the good Lord allowing me to do
Yeah.
this. You understand what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's the most alpha people to me. I've always said like any guy who's like you got to be alpha. I'm like you couldn't sound more beta to me.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
cannot sound more beta to me than saying how you're an alpha. It is every guy I know who's like a true alpha, like truly,
Like-
they would never say that. They just are.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm with you. Like, I sincerely believe like the alpha thing to do is the real man is like to be a human and soulful.
Yeah.
But I think there's a wrestling match going on right now. Like some of our friends that might be in the Austin area.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Of
yeah,
They
course.
would disagree with the 2025 alpha.
Yeah, with the UFC types and the types that are saying like, we're being cancel culture and woke, all that stuff. Definitely, they probably would say like, oh no, alpha does not cry. It's not, you shouldn't cry. I'm just saying the 2025 version of alpha, I think, has evolved.
So do you think who's in the who's going to be left? Who is the?
Well, Trump won the presidency, so I think that
But then that's an argument of because
that's what I'm saying. Those guys are winning. That's what I'm saying.
But he's not that guy. That's the funny thing.
Well, that's what he's trying to be. Like him, Andrew Tate, all these guys that are like manly. Even Elon Musk pretends to be like a manly man.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I mean, it's all just facades, and it's just not wanting to just keep your heart shell. Because if you actually were able to talk to those people and break their shell a little bit, they'd be crying like babies. Because we all have a lot of baggage that would, he's been waiting 25 years for this team to win a game.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
That's my dad. I mean, what is my relationship with my dad without this thing? Without this thing that keeps us together and us getting to call each other and be like, we finally see that. Like, that's so emotional to me. And yet, it's sports. And I watch UFC too. I watch all that stuff, which is like, I guess, alpha of me. I watch all that stuff, but then I'm also like, yeah, you gotta let the emotions in. You gotta.
I just saw, with all the fires going on, I just saw a fire truck go by on the way here, and I started getting emotional.
Oh, I got very emotional that one night because I was like, I mean, I have a very complicated relationship with fire, but like, firemen are unbelievable, and what they do is just so brave.
Just like the people, when you see people being altruistic, it makes you go, oh my God, what? Like there's good out there.
Yeah,
and it makes you emotional.
Yeah. It's good to feel stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not. How long do you think it's gonna last? While people I feel like I sincerely feel like we're having like a little bit of a 9/11 thing where people are coming together, not on social media,
right?
But in real life, people are like, "Are you okay?" and they mean it.
Yeah.
And they can't. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, I think communities step up. Communities step up, and I think that this is a LA thing, so we're seeing it firsthand. But when these things happen in Florida, or in other states, or in other countries, usually there's people of those, you see the footage. There's people showing up to help.
Yeah.
And personally, I felt like as I was watching it, I was like, I want to get involved. I want to do something. I want to help. I kind of felt powerless. And, I volunteered for like an hour here and there to help with something at the YMCA, donated a little bit. But still, you're just like, talk about not feeling alpha. You want to be out there like putting the fires out, but that's just not my job.
I haven't volunteered yet, but you know what I'm telling myself?
Yeah.
Because I saw one person post this. I'm holding on to this.
Yeah.
We're going to need volunteers later.
Sure.
So everyone's volunteering for the first week, but they're not going to volunteer like in 5 years.
So as someone I've been through a fire in my life. House burned down when I was a kid.
Wow.
One of the biggest things I've told people is, one thing about when your house burns down is it is a long issue.
Yeah.
It goes for at least a year. You're at least for a year having to be transient for a year. Like, we lived in a hotel, we lived in a rental house, went back to the hotel. Like, so you need help for a year, at least, of just people like help. So it couldn't be more true of like, in a month, all those families need just as much help as they need right now. It's going to be different types of help. It's going to be, you go into a rental house, like, all right, they're finally in their rental house. What's in that rental house? Are we buying more stuff like that that isn't even our actual stuff? It's really tough. So it's like, that's where they need help the most.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many places. If you just Google, like my neighbors sent out a text that the Hollywood YMCA was separating donations and getting them ready to be taken out. So I was like, okay, that's easy. I'll go do that. I ran into a friend who goes, the restaurant I work at is collecting donations. All right, I'll go over and do it. So there's a lot you can do, and there will continue to be a lot you can do, but it feels good to actually go down and do something.
Yes.
And it doesn't always have to be alpha, like separating clothes at the YMCA with a bunch of other people is not alpha at all. Yeah.
Then don't stop. Then don't do it.
Yeah, then I wouldn't do it.
Stop it.
I wouldn't do it.
Next time you volunteer, be like, you just throw the clothes in their face.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Kept just tearing them in half.
What do you think? What kind of man am I?
You know what's funny? There's a comedy club in town that like posted that they gave like 50 T-shirts with their
logo
brand on it.
Oh, that's funny.
And like people are trolling them for it, but like also they want free. It's like you look. It's a bad look, but also it's a good look because they want new clothing.
Yeah.
They don't want used.
Yeah.
You have a closet full of merch with that advertises your logo on it.
I thought about that because I gave away because I got sick of. I had so many T-shirts at my house. This is like around the time of the pandemic that I ended up donating a bunch. I just donated them all to like Goodwill. And I thought about that actually. I was like, I wonder if I had those, it would be good to just go give it. And to your point, you see a bunch of people walking around with your T-shirt. You're like, hey, that's my shirt.
Yeah.
My friend has a T-shirt company she started,
Yeah.
and like she has all these shirts that say like they're all silly shirts that say like anxiety, depression, and it's like tropical, whatever.
Yeah.
But she has boxes of them, and like we talked about like maybe donate them, but you can't donate a bunch of during a
Hilarious.
tragedy.
That's
That
so
like
funny.
it sounds like a bad joke, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so how often have you been, Maz?
I was telling you about this incident that happened. So maybe the second or third night of the fires, there was a burglary attempt in our neighborhood, and this is how I realized how unalpha I am, because I had to I was leaving my house to go pick up my daughter. She was at a birthday in Culver City, and as I'm driving out is when I see, like, I'm driving on the street that's like maybe like, whatever, a minute away from my house. I see a cop going the other way really fast, and almost like a Mr. Magoo moment. Like, this is how, like, I'm just like, oh, something must be happening. I had no idea it was in my neighborhood. I'm like, oh, I wonder, that guy's rushing to go somewhere. Now, if I were like Jason Bourne, Alpha, I'd be like, that's very suspicious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd have a scanner. I'd be like, and it'd be like, going to your address, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I was very much like, oh, whatever. And then as I'm driving along, I'm getting closer to my daughter, and then I see our neighborhood text starts going off, and I'm driving, and it's like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, boy, what's up? And I start reading it, and I go, oh, geez, something's happening. So then I tell my daughter, I go, cops are in our neighborhood looking for a burglar. And again, very un-Jason Bourne, I was just like, I don't know what are we going to do, right? So as we're approaching the back to our house, I see the helicopters. I'm like, that's our neighborhood. She's like, oh my God. And then we pull up, and the cops have blocked off our street. And the cop goes, you can't come in. And once again, very un-Jason Bourne, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just trying to get to my house. He's like, well, which house is it? This that one. He's like, the activity's right in front of your house. I go, well, what about our neighbors right here? So he's like, okay, you can go there. But he's like, hurry up and go in because we're about to let the dogs out. And I was like, and again, very un-alpha, I was like, ooh, let me get inside. Like, again, alpha would be like, I can handle a dog. But I was just like, I don't want to see rabid, German shepherds that are trained to kill.
Yeah.
And if they mistake me as like, oh, he's brown, get him. I'd be like, oh, no. So I'm like.
They tell the dog, this is the description.
He's a brown guy. The dog's like, that's the guy.
He looks like the actor from Superior Donuts.
You might know him from, where do I know you from?
Yeah.
It's a Netflix special.
So then I go to my neighbors, and of course, then they're doing the announce, and like then they get on the megaphone, and they're like, we're letting the dogs out. They're trying to intimidate the guy. And again,
in your house? Where
he's not in our house. So what happened was, I'm getting we pieced it all together. The neighbor that I'm staying with, my friends, they have a video footage of this guy. So basically what had happened was, it looks like, I think there was two guys on the block behind us. And they might have been either trying to rob a house that was under construction, so they're looking for tools, or they might have been in a house, but they got out. I think they got one of them, and then the second guy comes into our street. So my neighbor has a video of him going over his porch. So he's like, the Ring camera catches this guy, come on his porch, run, jump off the porch, keep going. And as he keeps going, he's coming towards our house. And then my wife said she answered the door to cops. Cops rang the door, and she's standing there with the cops, and the cops are like, do you know house number, whatever, 234, whatever the number was? And my wife's like, oh, 234. She's like, that's got to be. And as they're talking, the guy comes out of the backyard of our neighbor's house and just sprints across the street. So the cops tell my wife, we got to go. And they turn around, they chase him into the backyard, the other backyard.
Wild.
And now that's where the lockdowns happened.
Yeah.
And again, being very unalpha, like, rather than feeling at all like, oh, I should leave my friend's house and find it. I got to get into my wife and son are home alone. Oh, I need to get there and protect them. No, I'm on my phone, like, trying to be funny on this chat. Like, we're like, anybody seen the guy? Like, oh my God, what's going on? Who let the dogs out? I'm trying to have fun with it. And then one of our neighbors goes, hey, the neighbor across the street goes, can anyone get to a cop? Because we have video footage. The guy went into our garbage bin. And so I was like, oh, I think I can get out there, but I don't know. Again, the alpha would have just been like, hey, officer, come here now.
Yeah, right.
But I'm like, they let the dogs out, so I don't know if I want to go out and try to get a cop. So one of the other neighbors who was close to one of the cops was like, I'll go tell him. So then the cops, now they know where the guy is, and they showed up outside the garbage can. And I guess they were like, these guys had footage of like the guy, like I think they were prodding the can, and then they shot like a beanbag at the can. And the
like
guy,
a classic, like a dumpster that you put it.
So it was the green weeds, the environmental can. And like I'm joking, I'm like, see, if you would have put your Christmas tree in there, the guy never could have gotten it. Like it's trying to be funny, very un-alpha. I think sometimes being a comedian, it takes the alpha. Like, imagine if you were a comedian that happened to be on Navy SEAL Team 6 that took out Bin Laden. Can you imagine how much, you know what I'm saying? You'd be like, hey guys, don't let you'd be busting out jokes as you're getting up there.
Oh, it took you 2 shots, pussy.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm
You only
saying?
killed the terrorist with 2 shots.
Yeah, don't hit the turban, man. Whatever. So I think being a comedian my whole life has made it hard to be too alpha. Obviously, sometimes you lose your shit, and but I even took karate classes once, and as soon as we started sparring with our partner, and he hit me in my forearm, I'm like, I don't want to do this shit. I'm like, I'll just get security.
Well, because you have this being a comedian, you have this extra brain that's going dissecting from a bird's eye view. Is it what's funny about the situation while you're in the situation, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I mean, I know it's true, but how are you in a crisis?
So good.
Yeah.
I actually am pretty good.
No,
when
I
the
think
dogs
almost
run out
every
of the
comic
house,
is.
I can be
I think almost every comic is. I think every comic is very calm in a crisis.
Really?
I'm extremely calm in a crisis. The second it's over, it hits me, and I'm like, oh my God. But in the actual moment, I'm always like, well, we got to do what we got to do in this moment. Let's go. I'm very calm, very calm. And then because I think it's bird's eye view, I just immediately, I'm like, we're in a problem. We need to get out of the problem. We need to find a solution. Let's get a solution. Let's execute that solution. We're going to do it. The second everybody's like, it's okay, I'm like, oh my God, what happened there? But in moments, I think all calm, very calm.
We're also on a tightrope every night of our lives because we're on that stage, and it's unpredictable.
I've never heard the stereotype. This is
And we've all had to deal with one way or another with a drunk person, a heckler, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And some comics, to your point, some comics might be a little more aggressive. Some comics are less aggressive. But I think we learn a little bit. Obviously, I'm not saying dealing with some catastrophic emergency. We don't necessarily know to be like, you get the pulse, you do the, we don't know all that shit. But we are kind of like, oh, let's, how can I help? Let's solve, as opposed to turning and running.
Yes.
Right. Turning and running is the, if you're with people that need to be saved in whatever situation, turning and running is that's where you're like, oh my God, I'm such a coward, But
we'd be good in the emergency aisle on an airplane.
Absolutely. I've been involved in anytime I'm in an emergency situation, I am the calmest person there.
He has a lot of emergencies. We should not hang out with you.
I know.
It's the problem. Boy.
Well, the bigger thing you learn is I've also said how useless because people say, oh, comedy's needed, we need comedy. And I think comedy is needed in the bigger picture. But in an actual emergency, I've realized how useless I am just because I'm not trained. So one time on an airplane, somebody was having, it turned out to be seizures, but they were having a moment, and they were having some kind of reaction or something. And then the flight attendant, is there a doctor? Is there a doctor? And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then the flight attendant, they brought the person down. They were doing CPR and stuff. And the flight attendant's thank God the person was okay. But at the end, the flight attendant was just trashed. And I was like, gosh, if I had some medical training, I might have been able to be up there doing something.
Right.
And then the other one, I'll tell you real quickly, is this one was funny. One time I was we were at Soho House because my friend was a member, and he's like, let's have lunch at Soho House. Okay. And I had just met with a big agency, and in meeting anybody who's knows, we know in the business, but people that aren't in the business, when agencies want to sign you, they bring their A team, So you go to the A-team meeting, and they're like, "This is
The
so and
production.
so."
It is one of the best shows you'll ever attend.
Yeah, it's like being a hot a hot person at a bar,
Yep.
and like everybody wants you.
Yep.
And they're like, "This is so and so. He represents these famous comedians, and he's going to be part of your team, and this guy and this guy and this guy." And then you end up never seeing the A
Ever
guy.
again.
You always see like his assistant, right? So anyway, I was in this meeting, and I'd met the A guy, and I hadn't seen him since. And I'm at this restaurant. I'm sitting with my friend who brought me to Soho House, and the A-team guy, my A-team guy, I didn't even see him, but I do see he's sitting with Thomas Hayden Church
Sure.
having lunch. So I see Thomas Hayden Church, but I don't see, because the back of the agent is to me, I don't know who that is. So I'm sitting here talking to my friend, and we're talking about our fathers, and his father's getting older, and I'm telling him a story about my father getting old and passing and all that. And as I'm telling him this, my friend starts tearing up, and I'm thinking to myself, gosh, I'm such a good storyteller. He's crying. And then I keep telling the story, and as he's crying, he starts going, and I'm like, yeah, man. And I'm like, he's coughing and crying now. What a great storyteller. And then as he's going, it gets worse and worse. And then all of a sudden, Thomas Hayden Church turns around and goes, "Hey, bro, you think he's choking?" And I go, I don't know. And he goes, "Yeah." And he gets up, comes over, grabs my friend, starts doing the Heimlich to my friend. And I'm like, holy shit. And he does the Heimlich. And my friend, spits out whatever was in his throat, and he's fine. And I'm like, "Thank you so much." He's like, "No problem." And he goes and sits back. And as he sits back, this agent turns around and sees me. And I go, "Hey, whatever, John, hey, what's up?" And he goes, "Hey, man." I was like, "I haven't seen you in a year." My agent, was supposed to be my superstar agent, was sitting there with Thomas Hayden Church. And the only time I saw him was when his client saved my friend. And that's again when I realized, I was like, I don't even know how to do the Heimlich.
Yeah.
I'm useless. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here like patting myself on the back about what a great storyteller I am. And meanwhile, this guy's dying. So yeah, all of that to say, to be a badass in these situations, it's good to be present and be there to assist. But it also helps if you're
You know what to do.
trained and able to do what you got to do.
But I still think there's a lot of value in being the person, knowing your place in the world. So it's
Right.
like anytime there's a medical emergency, the one thing I can bring is I'm very calm. So if someone's like really like struggling, I'm someone who can come up and be like, "You can be fine. What's going on? Like, what's your name?" Like,
Right.
I can really keep my voice there and make sure that they feel okay. Other than that, though, it's like when there's doctors, it's like there's always two people around the doctors who you're like, "Get back.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing." It's like,
Yeah.
I know better than to be that person.
That kind of gives me this funny image of like, it's almost like a sketch or something of the guy who's like, "I'm just a really good assistant."
Yeah.
And then someone's having a heart attack. They go, "Is there a doctor?" And he's just standing on the side. "I got this." And whenever the doctor shows up, they're going to do CPR. "I'm here to help."
Yeah.
Just everyone stand back. And then you're just waiting. This guy's dying. You're
Yeah.
waiting for a doctor to show up. You're like, you're like, "I'll find a doctor." It's like just assistant.
To wrap this up, let me tell you. So I'm the guy who I'm gonna take charge, but like I also don't know what to do.
Right.
This is how awful I was, and this is porch pirate related.
Ooh.
I got an Amazon package. I'm not proud. It's not a brag. I'm not
Right.
proud of any of this.
Right.
Well, you're ordering from Amazon. Doing
I'm-
pretty
but-
well.
Prime. You got Prime?
Well, I got
Somebody's-
Amazon Prime. I got
All right,
you
somebody's
know,
got a
listen,
good full tour
AGT
schedule.
money.
I got,
All
listen,
right.
pal. Listen, and you can't share that password with people. Amazon, because then they can order some packages.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
exclusive.
So I order some packages. Package delivers. Sometimes I do this move. I'm not proud of it, but I leave the package out front. Maybe that's an alpha move of me just testing the porch pirate.
Sure.
I have a package coming tomorrow. Extreme laziness. I live by myself. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow and I'll grab both packages.
Sure.
Not proud of this. Tomorrow I get a picture. Both packages are there on my front door. I have a garage on the other side. Front door. Packages are delivered on both sides. But the picture is packages are in front of my door. I go later on in the day, take my time, crazy. I'm really testing these porch pirates. I'm really baiting them. I'm not trying to, but probably part of me is not healthy, a lot of it. I open the door, package gone. I have a picture of the packages in front of my door. Open the door, packages are gone. A man on a Sunday, wearing a shirt that says U.S. Postal Service on a Sunday, the Lord's Day, where I don't
Oh.
think federal employees work on Sundays.
There you go.
Walking down the walkway in my community, holding a box. walking away from me.
I like that. I like how you're. This is definitely like
I'm
a Jason Bourne,
excited
Ethan Hunt.
about this.
You piece it together really fast.
This story's getting
But
cooking.
these are all things that are happening.
You're processing this.
Holding my Chihuahua.
Yeah, and then the song dum 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 dum.
One more factor.
Yeah. He's got
Man,
an eye patch.
Man, I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
He's dressed as a porcupine.
He's actually a pirate.
It's the worst thing that could happen to me. The guy happens not to be white.
Oh.
I'm saying that for the point being my white guilt is kicking in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because I assume anyone looks like anything.
Right.
He looks
You
like a
said-
great American to me.
Sure.
You said what you said.
But my white guilt is at level 10 out of 2.
How do I go up to this person of color and go, "Excuse me, sir"?
Who's already far enough away, so I have to yell
Oh yeah.
to a man of color
Yeah.
and go, "Excuse me, did you steal my package?"
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's how you went about it.
My evidence is I have a picture of a box in front of my door.
Yeah.
There's a man walking away with a big box, the same
Okay.
size as the box.
Okay.
So I just start following him,
Okay.
briskly following him. He's
Uh-huh.
20 feet ahead of me.
Uh huh.
I'm dying because I have the instinct to do something, but I'm terrified of
course.
white guilt and also, what if he is the guy that stole it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he's got a gun.
What am I doing?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care. I don't even know what I ordered.
Yeah.
If you're
and
right,
you get,
if you're right, you're in big trouble. If you're wrong, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
and you get a refund from Amazon. Yeah.
know.
This is on Jeff Bezos.
I know, but it's like Sunday daytime.
Sure.
I'm feeling, but what am I doing? But then I'm also like genuinely, I'm like, I need to stand up for myself because I've
Yeah.
been bullied as a child and on YouTube comments every day of my life. Whoever's watching this is gonna write something negative.
No.
So
We're gonna talk about how good you look.
So we gotta go. But what would you do?
So what happened?
Well, anyway, so
Because I know what I would do, but I'm curious.
I go terrified, pretend false confidence,
Uh
and no confidence in my. Excuse me, is that my box?
huh. Okay.
You know what he does?
What?
Ignores me.
Uh huh.
Smart.
I follow him to the exit. There's a gate at the end of my community that I've never opened, the walkway gate that has like a code on it. I don't even know the code.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm gonna see where he's going. I'm just following him.
Yeah.
He's at the gate. You know what's on the other side of his gate? A USPS truck.
Oh no.
Okay.
So,
You know what I do?
what?
Assume he's a good thief.
I just walk around. I ignore. He didn't respond to me.
Oh.
Maybe he didn't hear me. He thinks I'm talking to someone else. I don't know.
Oh God.
So I like walk around and then I walk through the driveway to back to my home, and in front of my garage is the box.
Oh my
Oh.
God. Wow. Because I thought you were gonna be like. Then I thought when I saw the truck, I was like, wow, this guy's really gone deep.
yeah, that's
to
what I
hide
thought too.
his-
I was like
this guy's
smart.
really put an
Smart.
effort in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, in my defense, somebody moved the box.
This is what I would have done. I would have said, excuse me, did you accidentally take my boxes? Like, because then
it's a hard, quick. It's not a sound bite.
because now what that does is that leaves the possibility of, if it's a real male person, he thought you left your boxes out to be taken because you
Right.
wanted your male guy to take it.
Right.
So you're being somewhat polite, and then he goes, no, I didn't take it, and you go, okay.
That's good. That's a long yell. Excuse me, did you accidentally take the box that was in front of my thing and think
But
it was
that's
someone?
always my move is the exact same move. That's exactly what I was thinking, which is like you always go up being like, anytime I know someone's trying to fuck me, I always go up being like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's
for
what
a
I say
second
when a
I
woman
thought
wanna fuck
for a second
me.
I thought you were trying to fuck me there, but
Yeah.
I know you weren't.
Yeah.
Can you acknowledge my
But what-
joke real quick, please?
What was your joke? I'm so sorry.
You see when people try to fuck, I joked and I threw in a joke. I say when people say they want to fuck me, I go, I'm sorry also. Anyways, go on
Okay.
with
All right. All right.
This is a great podcast. We got the jokes.
Yeah.
No,
jokes.
for sure. And I think
Got
even
dogs.
like the second and third time, you get it in. I think that's when the joke really picks up in momentum.
Danny, continue.
Anyway, I always do that. That's always my move. Is the it seems like you're trying to fuck me, but I know that's not what you're trying to do because it gives them an out.
So if somebody like comes to you with a gun and goes, "Give me all your money," you go, "I'm sorry." Are you? I did probably not. Are you trying to mug me?
Yeah.
Then he goes, "Give me all your money." No, you don't mean it.
This guy looks like he's wearing. I've never seen a USPS T-shirt, and it's a Sunday. It's
On a Sunday, yeah.
it
you're
looks
right.
like a guy-
The
Suspicious.
Sunday part is the tough part.
suspicious. It looks like he's just like, I'm gonna look like I'm a guy who.
So the way you button this sketch when you do it, is you're watching TV and they go, the post office thief has been hitting neighborhoods. He has this truck and he has the outfit and he comes on Sundays and you're like, I knew it.
Yeah.
You know, and the guy's just rolling in the dough.
Listen, guys, thank you so much, Danny Jolles, Maz Jobrani.
Thanks so much.
Do you want to plug a thing? Anything you want to plug? You're great comedians, great actors. You have comedy specials that are both hilarious.
Thank you so
on
much.
YouTube.com.
Would you like to go
and
first?
Netflix.
I have a YouTube special called The Birds and the Bees. I have a Netflix special called Immigrant, and I'm touring everywhere. So if you want, come out. Let's have a laugh.
2 specials on YouTube. One called You Choose, which I'm most proud of. It's a choose your own adventure special.
So innovative and special and so good it stresses me out. The work and
Well,
effort and talent. You put
Nobody
into that.
watches it. So
So when you say you choose, is it like you start and then the people click and they go somewhere
you
else?
pick my opinions.
Oh, that's
Choose Your Own
awesome.
Adventure
Yeah,
comedy
it
special.
just
Cool.
yeah, some would argue I'm so proud of it, and I'm so proud of it, and it's also kind of deemed a failure.
You just got one more viewer. I'm gonna watch
This is
it.
great.
I
No, but now
would
we
love
got
to watch it.
we got at least
means
3
a lot.
more viewers
So
here.
You Choose comedy special. Please see me live. And the number one thing I say on every podcast I do this, stand-up comedy is like hockey. It is really cool to watch on TV, but it's just entirely different in person. It's a different beast. So please, whether you see any of us, just go to your local comedy club. Look up the next 4 comics. Make sure you can find 10 minutes uninterrupted of one of them. Uninterrupted stand-up, no heckler or anything. Actual material for 10 minutes. If you can find that, go buy a ticket. Go see them live. You'll never stop going. It'll change your life.
I will say stand-up comedy is like sex. You can watch it alone on a video, or you can go to a club and you can have it with other people. And it's better when you do it with other people.
That's phenomenal as
That's
well.
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's very
Yeah.
good.
And I will say, get a dog and shop, don't adopt. Thank you for watching Almost Alpha, everybody.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Sure.
It is Alpha.